Welcome to DIY and Reviews with Bill. If you love hands-on projects, honest product reviews, and saving money, you're in the right place. From DIY builds to testing tools and gadgets, I will break it all down so you know what works and what's worth it. Subscribe and join me as I take on multiple projects, put different products to the test, and try to help you get the best bang for your buck. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. What is going on, my fellow YouTubers? In today's video, we are going to be going over the old classic GM radio here. You can find these in your Yukons, Silverados, Sierras, whatnot. Basically, for the most part, any GM vehicle, I believe, from 1999 through 2007 classic, and if not the 99, the 02s, then for sure, you know, at least the 03s through the 07 classics. What I'm going over today, it's probably going to be a couple of different things. We'll see how long the video goes for and how the editing process goes, but one of them is going to be replacing this faceplate. As you can see, these buttons are chipping away, you know, the covering. It's just every time it gets used, a little bit more flakes off. This one's completely gone. This is a replacement radio I got from the salvage a little while back, and I had originally bought this because I messed up my other one trying to do some programming, and I actually messed up the PCM, the BCM, and the radio, all three modules, because it failed during programming. I was trying to use AC Delco software to do some programming while in the vehicle like an idiot, and also without a battery tender or anything like that. Needless to say, failed during programming, and I messed up all three modules. So I went and bought a different one. I accessed the EEPROM in it, reprogrammed the VIN number so that way it would be unlocked. But that's a whole nother thing in itself. The one that was in my Tahoe was this one. Okay, it's obviously very beautiful, no chips anywhere, and I do have the buttons right here. They're just off at the moment because I have that radio torn apart, but you can see these ones just in great shape. So essentially, you'll learn how to replace these buttons if you find some good ones. How to replace the faceplate. And in this particular situation today, or sorry, in this video today, I'm replacing, and I'm only doing this because on the off chance that you don't know how to access the EEPROM and have the tools and the software to reprogram the EEPROM to match the VIN number and don't want to mess with it, and you got a replacement unit because maybe your CD player, like on mine, went out, this is going to help address that. I do have the CD player taken out right here already. So whenever I would power it on, this thing would just make an awful noise, very awful noise. And so I'm going to be replacing it just because of the simple fact that I wanted to show you guys how to do it. So, because this radio already works right now, and basically I could just swap only the faceplate onto this one and call it good, but I wanted to do a little bit of education today. So let's get started. In order to get the CD player itself out, we got to take the faceplate off and then a couple other bolts. So this can be a little bit of a pain. A small precision flathead screwdriver will be your friend, but you got these tabs all the way around, okay? And we just gotta work them out one by one. Obviously, before we do that though, is getting ahead of myself, we gotta take these knobs off. Now you can get like a paper towel or a piece of cloth or something to stick on the bottom and use pliers. You might get lucky enough that you can pull them off by hand like that. Okay, so that little button comes out, it just pops right out, that center button there. Okay, and then this white part comes right out, and there's two parts to it. Okay, so you have the main body itself, and then you have this little like kind of rubber or silicone boot that, you know, is what acts as your button whenever you press it in, and that just pops right in there like so. But if you have a hard time pulling that off by hand, you can get the pliers, and you know, just obviously be careful, squeeze it, pull it up, and there you go. So your push audio button here, the same thing, it just pulls right off. Mine was already busted, so it's gone. All right, now let's get to working this off here. So I like to start on the sides, and you're going to be pulling, kind of prying outward at the same time while working on these tabs. Okay. Try not to let it pop back in, so this can be a little bit tricky at times. There. There, finally. And it's literally just held on by the connector here. Okay, presses in place, and then obviously the tabs too. So underneath that you have this little silicone plate here. Okay, so we got that off. Now we need to take out those little bolts. I don't know the exact size of these bolt heads here, or screw heads I should say, but the one that I'm finding that works really good is, for now, is a 5.0 millimeter, and it came in this little iFixit precision screw set that screwdriver set that I've got here for like small electronics. And I'll put a link for this in the description. But it just comes with various tools to be able to do some work on electronics and everything. But in this specific kit, 5.0 millimeter deal, and I used an attachment that came in it to put in my drill. We're going for the side opposite of where this is at, so the top side. Got one bolt on the back. Also, make sure you've got something to keep your screws in, because these are super small and it can be fairly easy to lose. So we got that one out, and we have these two right here. You don't have to take those two out to take this top plate off. I just went ahead and took them out since I had the drill in my hand. And then we're going to go back to our little precision screwdriver here, stick it in the back, try to pop this plate up. Just like that. All right, that comes off. This is our CD player. It's on top. So again, mine was making a god-awful noise whenever, you know, I would turn it on. This might actually be the EEPROM. I'll have to go through and double check that. I can't remember, I did it a little while back, but this may be the EEPROM I was talking about earlier, that you would have to use a tool and specific hardware to access the VIN number and be able to change it so you can unlock it. Anyway, moving forward, two more screws right here. And this should come right out. Just like that. And then you have this little electrical connector right here. Just pull it straight out. And there you go. That is how you remove the CD player. And we're gonna put it in our other one here. And just double check your orientation. Make sure you put it back in the same way. We're gonna slide our connector back in, and you'll feel it click. It's not a very audible click, but when you're pressing on it, you can feel it. Set it down in there, nice and gentle. And then we're gonna use the back holes as our guide for aligning it. Make sure that your screw holes are lined up. We're gonna put those back in first. Start a little bit with the finger so we don't cross thread it. And if you're using a drill like I am, don't use an impact, because That's way too much torque. If you're using a drill like I am, just make sure you have it on a pretty low setting. I think mine's on 5. Sorry, 4. Yeah, 5. Got it on 5. That might be too much. We're gonna go down to 4. Got those 2 in. Put in our front 2. Okay. So another thing you can do if you want to use the drill to start it and not fiddle with it, put it in loosening mode first. And you feel it kind of pop a little bit. That's when you know you're aligned. Then you go to tighten. It's funny because every time I do that, people tell me you're going the wrong way. I know, I'm doing that for a reason. It's to help me get lined up so I don't cross thread. There is a method to my madness. There we go. So we got that in there. Now we can put our top plate back on. Make sure you get these tabs underneath here. Okay, because it kind of goes in at an angle, and then you lay it flat. Pop that back down, and put our last screw back in at the back. You see it's a little more time consuming trying to pre-thread it by hand, but it's all preference. Okay, now we got that in. Obviously, I already have the faceplate off on this one. I'm gonna put the good one on it. Oh, and real quick, just to show you, if you wanted to upgrade to LEDs on your faceplate, you can do that. It's a little bit of work, but you've basically got 4 little bolt heads. I do not know what size this is because in my precision kit, I used a 3.5 millimeter and a 3 millimeter. Neither one of them fit. The 3 millimeter was too small and the 3.5 millimeter was too big. So I don't know what size that would be, but you take these 4 off and this circuit board just pops right off and you'll see all the bulbs there. You will need most likely 3 millimeter bulbs so that they fit. You might possibly be able to use 5 millimeter. I'm not entirely sure, but I might do a video on that later. But for now, we're gonna get back to this. So this, you got this little silicone rubber mat here, okay? It's only gonna go on one way. You'll see when you put it on how everything lines up and your little knobs will be facing out. And this is what I mean by you should only be able to put it on one way because everything lines up, the slots, the holes. If you try to put it any other way, your stuff's gonna be wrong. So go ahead and put this on real quick. And then we're gonna pop our faceplate back on. Okay. And this also should only go on one way. Your pins will line up with the connector here. Just be very careful. Obviously you don't wanna damage any pins. You wanna try to make sure everything's nice and perfectly straight. Do a little check around and looks like all the tabs are lined up. So we're just gonna press it straight on. Snap, snap, snap. Okay. Make sure we got it on there nice and firm. Double check that all of our tabs are popped in place like they should be. Okay. All good. This one, you don't have to take it off, but you can if you want. But it just pops right back on. Same thing here. So we're gonna put our tune button back in place. These will only go on one way, and I'll actually do this one piece. So let's pop this out. Okay, and this just literally pops right off. So I'll show you what I mean when it only goes on one way. All right, that was our tune. So the tune's on the bottom. You got 3 slots on here, 1, 2, and 3. You just line it up with the grooves on here. So, and then the little silicone part goes inside. Just like that. So that's already popped into place. Now we can go ahead and put our knob on. takes a little bit of, you got to find the right position, but just don't try to force it too much. You'll feel it slide into the proper position, and then you just push it down, it snaps into place. And then your button, kind of same thing. We're going to twist it right there. I feel it feel like the right position. Push it down. There you go. We'll do the same thing with our power button. Now you can pre-assemble it like this. That way it just all drops in at once. It'll probably be a little bit easier, but I wanted to show you piece by piece how that was all assembled. So we're going to look at our grooves on here, and we're just going to line them up on here. Push it straight down. Like so. All assembled back together. And now we're gonna go pop it in the Tahoe and make sure everything works. Alrighty. Before I put it all completely together, we're just gonna plug in our connectors and make sure it's all good to go. So, in case you don't know, the round port is antenna, and then you got these two pigtails. It's always best to disconnect the battery first before you do all this. Here's the CD player moving around, so that's a good sign. Put the key in and see what happens. And there it is. Let's work. Looks like no disc. Looks like everything's working. And that's how you can replace your faceplate and also the CD player on the off chance that you do need to do something like that. Okay, so in case if you were wondering, the EEPROM to change the VIN number for programming is on the other side. So the EEPROM, well, it's not even EEPROM, but the chip on the CD player is not the correct one for programming. It is on the other side, so you've removed the other plate, but this is what I was talking about. You gotta have a tool to be able to hook directly up to the EEPROM, and then software to actually read it and change the VIN number. As I mentioned before, I might do a video on this later, but for now, I just wanted to show you what I was talking about earlier real quick. Anyways, good luck, have fun, don't break anything, be careful. I hope this video was helpful. If you found it useful, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. Take it easy.